Hello, this is 012 Boku, and
I am Professor J. Mind-taking.
Well, not the correct show, but, hey, but, yeah, we're coming at you with another episode of Fullmetal Alchemist, and realize I didn't write down the name. I think it was, let's see, here's that one, let's see what this for. Oh, yeah. Bonding Memories, episode 24.
Again, playing with the sweet irony with the title names.
Oh yeah, which again, as you guys know, this is usually Jherick's forte to give you his things on it, so take it away, Jherick.
And once again, I love this episode, and no, I do not get tired of getting to say that. Because I've seen a lot of dumb shit in my time, and I do like getting to review good stuff.
Well, believe it or not, before you continue, Jherick, I'll just say, I won't mention how deep we went into it, but we also, again, had another tiff talking about the stuff they did in this show and later episodes we've not yet gotten to, and also ones that we have, and again, just sort of talking about that different way. And again, we haven't watched, as you guys know, once we're done with the last episode of this, once we take a little bit of time to review some other things again, we'll jump right back into Brotherhood from this original before we get to season 2 of this, finish up part 2 of Brotherhood, and then we'll go into season 2 of Fullmetal Alchemist and give our whole thing there. But again, we were just talking about the differences and the things, which, again, probably will go in detail on this, but it's sort of funny. That's why I wanted to bring that up, because again, we always go back to, this show gets shit on way too much. I mean, you guys could say, oh, was it as good as Brotherhood? I still think this is better than Brotherhood, but again, I'm in the minority, I guess. Everybody seems to love Brotherhood better than the original, but again, that's me.
Well, I mean, we're the drama and the writing class nerds.
That is also true. Well, characterization and driving force and meaning without actually, which again, not that Brotherhood doesn't have the meaning, guys, but it's romanticized heavily. And well, I didn't want to bring it up now, but Jherick, if you want to say it, you can, because I'm not going to say it to piss off the fans if you're from Asia or Japan, but if you want to say it, or do you want me to say it? Because, I will if you want me to.
I mean, look, people, we all had some fun with Dragon Ball Super, but let's just say my favorite thing about that is Whis and Beerus, and no, I will not apologize. Come on, people, Zamasu was wasted. The new version of Broly, I'm sorry, I prefer angry, psychotic, I will alchemize you to death, Kakarot and Broly. It's like, Super was fun, but if all I ever get out of it is Whis and Beerus, fair enough. Because I'm getting sick of Frieza.
Well, and one, if you're going to mention it like that, I'll also just come out and say it too, because you want another interesting route that connects to it, but I'll basically say, without getting into it, but basically to do a little thing, I mentioned it earlier, I don't know what, I won't say it like that, I'll say it like this. I don't know why Jing is there. I do not care for Jing. I do not like Jing. I mean, it was cool. But if we're trying to say, I will say it, if we're trying to say the Asians were better at the Europeans than alchemy, what are you saying there, Hirono? What are you saying there?
It kind of reminds me of another one of our least favorite...
Equal, please!
Kind of reminds me of another one of our least favorite retcons in all of fiction. For those of you who only grew up with the Harry Potter movies and not the books, you probably don't realize that Ron Weasley was supposed to do about roughly half of all the cool shit Hermione Granger did in the movies.
Yeah.
Why did they change it? Who knows?
We'll see, and you, since you brought that up, not to go on another tangent like we've already been doing, but they're saying that, maybe we'll get that this time on all the Ron Weasley stuff.
Yeah.
We'll see. Will we get, they didn't show the match in the book, but if you guys remember in the book, when Ron actually joins the Quidditch team for Gryffindor, he's made a keeper. And the thing is the keeper, he's supposed to be the guy defending the hoops, and if he can catch the Snitch as well, he can catch the Stitch. And he was this guy where, they were mocking him. I think it was the 6th book, not the 7th book, but they were mocking him in the 6th book, saying, Weasley's the king of, basically sucking and stupidity, because he couldn't block the goal to save their life. He couldn't protect it. Gryffindor was always losing by a lot. They were still able to win games because of Harry and the others, but Ron was barely holding the team's scores together from keeping the hoops from getting, the ball thrown in the hoops. However, in the last game, Ron played so well, and he also catches the snitch as the keeper. That's why they win. So at the end when they're chanting Weasley is Arcane, it's because he helped them win for Gryffindor, which again, no mention of it in the movies, because in the movies they never even have him join the Gryffindor team for Quidditch, but beside the point. But we'll see if that will even show up even in the show. Because
I'll explain it in a way only soccer fans could understand. They were looking at Ron Weasley like, oh, look at him. He's Irish. He's going to be an easy score. It's like, we be the Pele. He be the weak Irish team. And then Ron Weasley being like, bitches don't know I'm David Beckham. Yeah, for those of you who understand your soccer, there you go.
Yeah. Well, either way, getting back to it.
But yeah, this is a great episode because, again with the wordplay of, bonding memories. Now, I know, most people would gravitate to the idea, yeah, but that's because Barry Chopper, basically lied to him and told him, well, maybe you're just a homunculus he created and bonded false memories into. But if you look deeper into the wordplay, it's something Japan does all the time. They love their clever little wordcraft. Bonding memories can also mean the memories that bond us together as people. Kind of like if you're a Persona fan and you hear the bonds you create with your friends that tie you to them and will give you strength, that sort of a deal. And sure enough, because, once the truth does come out, and it's a great scene too, we see Ed and Winry looking all over the city to try to find Al. Al's hanging out with, Al kind of wound up in the refugee camp for the Ishbals,
who were attacked at the beginning, no less, by Barry the Chopper and a bunch of mercenary thugs.
Yeah, and it's sad too because one of the kids wants to go back for a locket their mom gave him, and the older brother's not too happy because they thought the mom abandoned him. So, and if they didn't go back, the scouts from the military wouldn't have found him, trailed him back to their location, and started the attack. But it's kind of funny because it's a minor little plot. You don't really think it's going to do anything, but again, it's kind of a mirror plot to what's happening with Ed and Al.
Oh yeah, it's Rick, and for the life of me, I can't remember the older brother's name.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm blanking on it.
And it's kind of funny too, because the kid who loses the locket, kind of looks like it's a girl, and with the hair and a little bit of the voice. So I kind of wonder.
Well, he is voiced by a girl, but it's a little boy. I think 5 years younger than the older brother.
Yeah. Another case of Gohan, Goku, and all the boys being voiced by one lady. Love you, Japan. Never change. But but because they go back for the locket, of course, the scouts find them, tail them back to their camp, and they do what all good militaries that want to clean up a mess do best: go full Dick Cheney. Okay, boys, call in the Halliburton and Raytheon airstrikes. We know what to do. It's like, good lord, people, did we learn nothing from the 90s? Oh wait, we didn't. We're still repeating those mistakes. But it is kind of neat because in the confusion, they was it? I think it was Ed calls. No, actually, it was Al who called. What's her name?
Maria Ross.
Maria Ross, and because Al called her, and there was apparently no Ed with him, she gets concerned. So she sends out some soldiers to look for Ed and Winry. They manage to find them back at the Ishbal place. They're getting attacked. And of course, because these mercenaries are actually, kind of used to fighting people with alchemy, they're actually doing okay for now. As long as the Elric brothers are kind of disjointed. But Ed basically, uses alchemy to throw up one of those stone walls to protect himself because one of these assholes is going full Chuck Norris with the law rocket. And while he's trying to protect himself, Al just has to ask the inevitable question. What was it you were so worried to ask me about? And it's such a cute scene because it really does encapsulate everything about why this relationship is just such an iconic one. Ed is just too smart for his own good. He's always... It's kind of like... How should I put this? Kind of like Albert Einstein's thought process with giving the formula for the nuclear equation to President Eisenhower to make it to a bomb to stop World War II. For those of you not apprised, his thought was...
You mean Harry Truman?
Truman, yeah. Truman... The whole thought process was, warfare on this level will be so goddamn hellacious that once the world sees this, nobody's going to want to fight again. No sane, rational person would ever want to engage in war if these are the stakes. And, kudos to you, Mr. Einstein, because in a better world, if everybody was sane and rational, that is exactly the conclusion they would come to. Problem is... We live in a world full of people who have completely different types of thought processes. And frankly, you don't exactly get to be president of the United States of America or the head of its military by being sane and rational. Just ask Patton or Douglas MacArthur. Those guys did a lot of risky, skeevy shit to win WW2, people. You have no idea. And that's the problem, really, because a sane person would look at the bomb and say, I'm not doing this, that's too high of a gamble. But hey, guess what? Las Vegas exists because stupid people will make stupid decisions and pay the price for it. And that kind of goes with the problem. Edward is a very intelligent, analytical person, living in a world of people who are not highly intelligent and analytical. It's kind of the Tony Stark problem. You've got the world's most brilliant solution for a world of people who are easily 80 to 90 IQ points below you. Maybe it would work in a better world. I guess we'll never know. Or maybe Ultron's just going to download himself into the internet and become an all-powerful freakazoid.
Well, one Jherick's thing is he was saying where he brings up the question of that. Like, we were sort of comparing and contrasting it from Brotherhood to where... If you guys remember from Brotherhood, which we talk about, when it gets brought up, did Alphonse resent what Edward did to him, putting his soul in the armor? Winry has to yell at him and tell him it and say it in Brotherhood and be the one to break the ice. But in this one, Winry starts it saying, we were looking for you, blah, blah, blah. But then Edward actually works up the courage to say it slowly, which then, gets Alphonse to have a great response for it. And, they come together as brothers, and it was done so much better where it isn't looking at... I know I wouldn't reset it because she was fed up with them, but it's actually cool that Alphonse...
Yeah.
Or not Alphonse, Edward did get to finish his whole thought process instead of saying it after when Winry said it.
And it's also kind of... And to explain it another way, it's kind of like that scene in the Cell Game saga when Piccolo yells at Goku. It's like, Goku, what the hell's the matter with you? He's not like you. He doesn't like to fight. And you see the look on Goku's face, because this is the first time that thought has ever probably entered into his mind. And to know that his own son is somebody he doesn't understand. I mean, hey, Chi-Chi doesn't understand him either, so, it's kind of one of those things.
Yeah.
Maybe him becoming boyfriend to Videl was a good thing for him. But that's kind of the funny thing, because, Ed and Al love each other, but they are really on just different mental planes at all hours. Al is a child of faith and compassion. Ed is a man of analyticalness and practicality. When, sometimes he's up here and Al's down here, and other times it's the opposite. But that's why their dynamic works so perfectly. It's like a chain. When one part of the chain is weak, all the rest of the chain can compensate for the weakness. That's why we have chains to begin with. It's like a chain link fence. Basically, each link in the chain supports all the others. And when you really think about it, they're a perfect pair for each other. Al is the heart and the humanity of the group. Ed is the brains of the group. And they both bring something different to the team. Ed looks at things from a very intelligent, logical perspective. You know what it is? I have to do this. It's Kirk and Spock all over again.
Well, yeah.
Clearly, Kirk, because it is there is not a good enough reason. Clearly.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, that's not a thing where Kirk's always trying to find the value in where life leads, and I believe for himself does have some spiritual belief that he doesn't express. Now he's not Bones in any sense of the word, really, because I think Bones is the more spiritual out of everybody on that ship, as he's shown before and again. But again, Kirk has that belief of what will I find, what will I discover, how would we handle these things, and like what Spock is willing to always do in a logical sense. But it's just like how recently when I watched Star Trek the Search for Spock, it's like I see where you make the connection to that, because everything he loses in Star Trek 3, his ship, his son dying for his needs against the Klingons, that was part of this thing to protect Spock, and everything else. Like he tells, I always forget Spock's father's name. Do you remember what it is?
Yeah, I can't remember.
But yeah, Spock's father, when Spock's father says, everything, Cook, from your ship to your son to almost losing your entire crew, was it everything you wanted? Was it worth putting it all at risk and losing what you have? I've thought about that, and I thought about how it was a huge risk, and yes, I did lose a lot, but the cost would have been my soul, and that would have been too much. And again, it's like how, I hope I got this right, but I think for what the writers were getting at with that, and maybe even Leonard Nimoy too, since Leonard Nimoy also directed. He directed 2 and 3, by the way. He directed both 2 and 3, which I find nutty. Leonard Nimoy directed both Wrath of Khan and Star Trek 3, but either to the point, whether it was the writers or Nimoy, I think what they were getting at was, if he didn't do it, there still would have been a great cost. I mean, yeah, maybe his son wouldn't have been killed, maybe none of these things, losing his ship and stuff would have come to pass, but he would have lost Spock, and who knows what other things of discovery, plus things he could have changed if he never did bring Spock back. So again, what other parts of his soul would it have cost? So it would have cost a lot more had he not done it, if he chose to do it. Well, so yeah, he lost a lot, but he gained so much more knowledge. Even though it sucks, he lost. And to side note, since I mentioned that, everybody brings up his sadness with Spock when his son died. You Klingon bastards! You killed my son. You Klingon bastards! You killed my son. I mean, nobody brings that up. How he literally sits in his chair slumped, and his eyes are just wide, and he's just saying, "You killed my son." Nobody brings that up. That was heartbreaking to see him do that.
And that was the second angriest we ever saw him, just outside of God. God,
you Klingon bastards! You killed my son.
But it's kind of. I was kind of sad he didn't kind of retort to Spock's dad with this, like, you realize he's sacrificing his life for me and my crew. If I would have done any less, how could I have lived with myself?
See, and that probably also was what he said it would have cost him his soul, because of everything Spock did the prior movie to leading up to that point.
But I mean, hey, Leonard Nimoy's the only guy who gets to direct his death and his resurrection. Okay, except outside of Jesus, but that was a special case. But anyways, and I love this because, once they reconcile and the brothers make up, by the power of love and friendship, I'll punch the shit out of Barry the Chopper.
Yeah, or as Alphonse says, Edward, how could I be angry with you? Ah!
And it's great, too, because, okay, Japan, pucker up, I'm about to do it. I'm about to go full drinker, so here we go.
Oh, boy.
Now, as much as I do love Kamen Rider, it's a great series, by the way. Kamen Rider Skull is the most pimp thing I've ever seen, and I need more of it now. But as much as I love Kamen Rider, I cannot stand the overuse of the diving kick, because, look, people, it's cute and all, but have you ever tried using a diving kick on Geese Howard in Fatal Fury 1? Yeah, try that shit. Predictable! Hell, try using it on his stepbrother Krauser. He'll do that shit to you too. All day long, by the way. Yeah, that's the problem with a diving kick. It's a linear attack, one direction, and if your enemy knows what they're doing, congratulations. You can't move out of the way. You can't dodge. You are fucked. Well, you know what happens? You know why this is stupid? Let's just say, hypothetically, maybe you try some dumb shit like that, and Like Cologne points out to Akane when Ranma in his girl form is fighting Moose during that one episode of Ranma 1 half. Yes, very cute. He convinced all the children that he's actually still a boy. Problem is, girls on average have shorter arms and legs than boys. He is still at disadvantage. Grandson is rookie. And it's true, because on average, most girls usually have shorter arms and legs. Well, what's Barry in his new body? He's a little short and stocky. What's Al? He's man! I mean, the soul of a boy in a suit, but seriously, he's huge. I mean, let's be honest. His one arm is about roughly, 80% of the... No, actually bigger than most of Barry the Chopper. One good punch from this guy is just going to literally one punch him out of the room. And then there's the other big logistical problem. Yes, Barry, cute, you like to cut people up. But what is Al? He's a suit of armor.
Yep.
Designed to protect from bladed weaponry. Seriously, people, if you ever want to know why the dive kick is one of the dumbest things to rely on, just ask yourself one simple question. Would you dive kick Superman? No, you wouldn't. Would you dive kick Saitama? No, you wouldn't. Would you dive kick anybody in Dragon Ball Z whose name isn't Krillin or Yamcha? No, you wouldn't. Al does the only appropriate thing you could ever do in a situation like this. This looks like a job for Alphonse Elric. Boom!
Punch!
Seriously, people, he smacks his shit in so hard as Scott Summers is fucking impressed. I haven't seen anybody get that violated since the last time I was brought into a match in Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Well, and also too, I'll point out as well, a little side tidbit to this too, where he brought up with the mercenaries. The one mercenary guy who was a part of the mercenaries, because again, these guys were criminals in prison. He actually gets shocked seeing Edward there saying, you're a state alchemist, aren't we on the same side, what are you doing? And then at the same time, one thing I'll let you bounce off, Jherick, is after the punch, you see where Barry sees both Elric's thing together, he recognizes Edward, and then he yells at Edward saying, Edward Elric, I thought you looked familiar. You're that kid I dealt with long ago. You're that kid who made me like this! And I'm like, and the reason I bring it up is remember what Barry said just a few short episodes ago, I don't mind being like this, I kill, therefore I am. Bullshit! Then why are you getting mad you were made like that? Bullshit!
Yep. And the funny thing is, again, because we already established in a previous episode, both him and Alphonse both know each other's weakness, the blood seal. It's like, well, what happens? Yep, you guessed it, the blood seal gets broken, Barry finally gets to die.
Yep, and all because it was Scar, right? Because Scar hit him right at the right moment. And with his thing, with his hand of destruction, he not only broke the armor, he literally cut through Barry to where it ate it away like acid, and it was slowly eating away at him, killing him. Not killing him right away because what is it? Scar literally steps on his gagging head as he's like his soul's trying to gasp for any sort of life that's left. But it's like it was satisfying. And again, to compare and contrast, what happens to Barry here was so much more satisfying than my dog homunculi body is like crushing and like petting my blood seal, and I'm dead.
Yeah, it's like...
I'm a goofy side character.
I mean, that's one of the most embarrassing deaths of any character, right up there with Starscream getting killed by fucking, what's his name, Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, my eye!
As annoying as anybody finds Starscream, it's like, even I'm like, come on, be nice. Yeah, at least let him die to something more dignified, like, Bumblebee, Hot Rod.
Well, look at it this way. Chris Latta is killed by Leonard Nimoy as Galvatron, for his cowardice and taking over the Decepticons, betraying Megatron, and then Charlie Adler, who voices Starscream in the movies, is killed by the military and Sam Witwicky because Well,
at least it wasn't as bad as that time he lost to a Rainbow Dash and Death Battle.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, don't at me with that one. But, it is kind of neat to see, and Yeah, Scar still kind of basically implies that, he's still going to try and kill Ed eventually, but it's like, I do love that he's learning to prioritize his targets now, because even though he still hates all the state alchemists, he's still on this blood-soaked path of vengeance. Seeing them get attacked again and knowing, yeah, we accidentally brought them here, he's starting to realize it's like, even if I want to do this, there are things that have to take priority first, and it's kind of a nice thing to see. Another neat thing about this is, again, the guy that he just mentioned, this one criminal they let out, and he's got like this crazy backpack that shoots like these harpoons, and they create like an alchemy symbol, and then he channels lightning down onto it.
Which is funny. Maybe it's just me making a thing of it, but it almost looks like the Nazi symbol in a way when it comes down. And
well, that's a funny thing. See, it actually is a Nazi symbol. In fact, if I saw it right, it's the SS symbol that they used for, I believe, the Luftwaffe, or I forget what that's specific. But why did they choose that? Because Hitler was super obsessed with Odin, the storm god who's the father of Thor. And what was his favorite weapon? You guessed it, lightning. So it's kind of a funny kind of a funny thing, because even though we've mentioned there have been some not so subtle references to the Elmestrian army being quote unquote Nazis.
Yeah.
In this guy's case, he is literally calling down Nazi thunder on people.
Well, yeah. Well, as we could say, since you brought that up, as we all know, because we've alluded to it several times, worse than Brotherhood, because as you guys remember, whenever we see Scar or anyone else's accounts of Ishval, when they're seeing it, blonde hair, blue eye, the blue eyes accentuated, walking. The only thing they're not doing is the fucking goose step. And I'm like, yeah, I think it's subtle with that. And again, I understand it. I know, I've looked up Hiromu Arikawa's history. I know why she did this. It was also because of the Japanese with Emperor Hirohito and what happened to the Chinese. And I think Hiromu Arikawa said she had grandparents and family in China who were killed during that whole time and things like that. And again, you don't mind it, but I think it's because we all know there's good people in the Austrian military. And I know there were good people in World War II and, Nazis and soldiers who didn't hone with everything the SS and Hitler were doing once they found out about it. Yeah, but at the same time, too, it's just, it's sort of in your face, and it's like, yeah.
Because that's the funny thing. There were a lot of soldiers that either didn't know what was going on or were, basically too scared to disobey orders. But a lot of those guys were, the rank and file dudes. Like, a lot of the worst, they got high positions because they were not only okay with war crimes, they were there to commit war crimes.
Scientists, the businessmen, the Waffen SS.
Like,
I mean, again, not to go into it, and I won't mention any of it here to get us, because I'm afraid this is going to be doxed just from what we've already said and from what I said earlier, but not to mention it. One of the current things we're doing right now, if you don't agree with it, is I've been listening to, and I will say their names right now, Razor Fist and Gwen Beck, trademarked to both of you guys, not trying to throw you guys out there to ruin you, but because I learned it from both of you, and have found this information you guys have talked about elsewhere as well, making up my own mind on it. A lot of this stuff was started by Nazi scientists, and even before the Nazis became a thing, in the 1930s by the very German scientists, for some of the stuff we're doing now. So,
I'll throw out my own recommendations. If you want a good deep dive into the absolute madness that was World Wars 1 and 2, check out the videos by Fat Electrician or the 10th Legion. Fat Electrician does some really funny videos, but also some great historical, great history lesson. 10th Legion, he's an actual former soldier and a history professor, so, and he also does a lot of stuff on, like white-collar crime. Well, I think he had a really great one on Enron not too long ago.
But which, again, before we get back to it, to go and coincide with this, since we are talking about the original show, we do keep, and as we're going back and forth, because, again, we're not trying to hate on Brotherhood guys again, but it just, I never realized how in your face some of the messaging was, and hey, Hiromu Arikawa is the author. It was her right to make this the way she wanted, and her right to do so. But when it's and I will say this, I love Brotherhood, I love the manga, but if it's going to be that tacked on, I'm like, because it's still within here. It is still within here, but it is not as in your face. It is more subtle, and subtlety goes a long way while doing it well. And again, if you guys think what we're mentioning now is like, how could you guys mention this stuff? Oh, just wait till Conqueror of Shambhala, where they're in the middle of World War II in our world, and they're trying to go to ours because, oh, Hitler's alchemists and scientists are trying to find a way to this world to win World War II.
And hey, God forbid we ever have to review Ranma 1/2 and basically discuss that Rumiko Takahashi has leanings politically.
Funny how we were talking about that earlier today. Oh, and also too, and to bring up the original third Conqueror of Shambhala, where I think in Hohenheim, where the show ends, where is Hohenheim right before we get to the movie? In Salzburg, Germany, in Salzburg University, who was a great provider and money payer to Hitler for his occult research.
Yeah,
at least I think it was Salzburg. I could be wrong.
I mean, that's a sad thing, people. It's like little on the nose there, but I mean,
yeah, hey. but again, it was more subtle in the original. This one's like, wow.
But I mean, hey, if you're a Toho fan, you already know the Hakuri Shrine exists in Japan, and you probably already know where to find it too. Just remember, leave a donation or the Miko kills you.
Indeed. And continue on, Jherick. I'm pretty sure you had a few more things you wanted to talk about.
And I mean, it's kind of a neat reference to actual, military history, because people hire mercenaries all the time. I mean, pretty much the Revolutionary War was Britain just hiring some of the best damn mercenaries they had and just sending them because, hey, we're not even going to send our real soldiers. We're sending these mercs to deal with you farmers and whatnot. Which turned out to be a little bit of a bad choice there, Britain. But hey, I think they were also dealing with some other shit at the time too. Yeah,
exactly. And then to bring it into that direction, as you guys know, after the mercenaries and Barry are defeated, like one of the mercenaries goes back and is yelling, and like I said, like we mentioned earlier, if you guys remember, the Fuhrer's secretary was the one who led this band, and then the one main mercenary guy who got away was yelling at her saying, hey, the state alchemists were there, what were they doing there? I thought we were on the same side. I'll take this to the Fuhrer. And as soon as he said he'll take this to the Fuhrer, her hand, as we've sort of been seeing from time to time, because we thought she was possibly creating this weird water stuff we were seeing. Turns out she was. Her hand completely goes right into the guy's mouth, and I'm going to assume probably drowned him. But that's the thing. And she has this evil smirk on her face. And I mean, again, you guys have probably said, we've known it because you hear us talking about Brotherhood. You know what the Fuhrer is already if you know us from watching Brotherhood. But what I've loved about this is it's subtle because you think the Fuhrer may be involved, but maybe he's not, because they're putting all this on his secretary, and it has happened before where world leaders have had other people undermine them from behind, where it looks like they're the ones doing it, but it's actually certain minions of theirs going over the authority of the world leader and taking control.
And again, it's a wonderful... I love how this series in particular, even more than Brotherhood, kind of plays with the whole idea of, like, women perverting the role of what a woman is traditionally supposed to be. We see this especially with like Lust, because in Brotherhood she's basically a beastly attack machine with how she fights.
Yeah.
But I love how in this one she's the femme fatale, she's the Mata Hari, she's...
You think she would be, it's in the name.
Yeah, and that's the thing, it's like the most destructive thing women can really do to you is play with your mind and your emotions, and I love how that's what Lust does in this so well, Like that scene when they find Marco's lab, and he's trying to tell, Edward's trying to justify all the things he's done, and I love how she just, coldly throws it all back in his face because she already knows the truth. I mean, in a very real sense, if she didn't see it happen the night they did that alchemy, she would have almost certainly have heard it from the secretary herself.
Yeah.
Yeah, minor spoiler warning on that, by the way.
Well, and again, too, how real she seemed when she said, "What do you think we want? We want to become human." That there was this promise, whoever made them this promise, that they can be human. It's something they all want. Now, Envy, as you guys know with Envy always has, no worries, I'll fix it later. Envy has a thing where Envy wants to be human too, but Envy seems like he has more writing on this, because you see Envy seems to hate Edward with a passion. We don't know what that is yet. I don't know if I've mentioned it in our things here, but I will mention it now, but that'll be revealed a little later. But at the same time, too, lust, gluttony, all of them want to be human because they want to feel and have what the humans have. And then, as you guys know, with Shao Tucker realizing he fucked up, wants his daughter's soul back, but is it going to happen that way?
Well, and I also love how the secretary, she stays in the shadows, quietly orchestrating things, because realistically, that's how a true, Dark Lord should be.
Yeah.
You're not going to go out and just mop up the army yourself. It's like you pull a Palpatine, it's like, I got all these stormtroopers, I got this Death Star, and then I've got this crazy pissed off cyborg in case you get past all that. I mean, it's what you do, it's like, you want the hero to earn their way to you. It's like, you're not going to give him the title fight right away. He needs to show you he's taking this shit seriously.
Yeah.
And what I love about it, too, is like, if this was Brotherhood, she would probably make, touch him and make spikes pop out of him or some shit. I love how it's just this quiet thing where she turns her arm into water and drowns him, because think about it. Not only would that be the easiest compound for her to, transmogrify her arm into and back from, but it's a perversion of one of the most sacred tenets of all time. Water is the foundation of life. What are you surrounded in your mother's womb? Water. It's kind of like the ultimate perversion of womanhood, using the ultimate foundation of life to murder someone just to keep them quiet.
Yeah.
And that's what I really love about this version of this homunculus. It's like, before we would have gotten in Brotherhood, we would have gotten this crazy, grandiose show of power. But it's like, she doesn't need that. She doesn't even really want to do that, because it's like, he's not even worth it. And plus, it's also kind of a perfect thing, too, because if he even tried using that lightning alchemy of his, what would happen? Well, water is a superconductor of electricity. It would just get channeled into the water and kill him faster.
Well, and as well, I think we've mentioned it before, this secretary, they're really not trying to hide it anymore for those who've been watching the show. It really does look like Edward and Alphonse's mother. Plus, I think this is the first episode they give the voice away, and it says the secretary is voiced by, at least in English, Lydia McKay, who is the voice who does their mother. Mm-hmm. I think Lydia McKay also did the voice in Brotherhood too, and she's the voice of the mother in this one as well. So it gives it away that
what's even better,
now it's being less subtle.
And what's even better is throughout the series, we've seen that Lust has been keeping tabs on the brothers. But as it turns out, she wasn't the only one manipulating things from the background, because Scar himself is like, hey, who was that woman? Why does she look just like the one who was with my brother?
Yeah.
And, and again, we see that in that flashback, she's got that sly little smirk and by the way she's looking, you can tell she's looking at Scar.
Oh, yeah.
And it's neat because this whole time, they've coyly been playing around with the idea maybe she's involved with it, but here, you really get the implication that she knew full well that the Elric brothers would be there.
Yeah.
And that she probably didn't even tell these guys just because she either thought it would be amusing or just because she wanted to see how far they came as alchemists.
That was probably more the second one, but it was probably also a bit of the first one, because it was both amusing and to see how far. And to that same point where we could go from here, how the episode ends is you have Scar showing his growth, where after helping to defeat that group, saving Rick from captivity, his older, wish I could remember the older brothers.
Thanks for mentioning that. I almost forgot to bring that up. Yeah, remember the whole locket we talked about? They had to go back for that, caused them to get spotted by the military. Well, what I love about this is during the battle, the locket falls down and it opens because it's one of those old-fashioned picture lockets.
Oh, well, really quick before you do, how it fell open was, if you remember, Barry while dying was on the mercenary. He was on his pack, and while he was melting and also destructing, the mercenary got his pack off, which is how he survived to go back to Sloth. Oh yeah, that is the homunculized name who works for the Fearless Secretary. It's Sloth. Goes back to Sloth, but before that happens, he had to throw off his pack, which Barry was attached to. Barry's body explodes the rest of the way, sending out those shuriken or knives that were the electric inducers. One of them hit Rick in the chest, sort of looks like it kills him. His brother is freaking out, saying, Rick, wake up, open your eyes. No, Rick. And even Alphonse is like, Rick, shocked after all they've been through together. And now, continue to the point, Jherick, when the locket
and then it turns out the locket saved his life, and what happens when it opens up? Eye medicine pops out, and I love how the old man is like, oh, that looks like eye medicine. It's like, I do remember her saying something about having a hard time seeing right before the attack. And you get to see the rest of the flashback. And again, this is why I love how they do these things. Because before, we only got part of the flashback, which made it look like his mother got scared and abandoned her children. Well, as it turns out, the truth is she's practically blind. She needs the medicine to be able to see to any great degree. But she can still hear. And she could hear that the attack was happening. She panicked and she ran to the room that she thought the kids would be in, not realizing that they were downstairs because they weren't screaming their heads off. They were in shock. So she didn't know that they were downstairs from her. That's why, and as we saw in the flashback previously, what happens when she gets to the room, it blows up. So unironically, the older brother didn't realize his mother was basically legally blind because she had been doing her best to keep it from her children.
Yeah,
so that they wouldn't worry.
And what Rick's older brother thought, which again, and you could probably say this has some Muslim or Islamist connotation because of their belief system, because they are a bit more like that in a sense. Because it looks like, she saw the soldiers, got worried and panicked, went into the room, and the room exploded shortly after, like her mom had planted a bomb in the room to kill herself, and I think that's what Rick's older brother thought happened. But again, with the eye medicine and not being able to see was that, and Rick was like, Mom protected me, and then he's like, oh, Mom, I was so wrong about you because you forget me, and it's like, oh, in the feels.
And again, it's another episode, two brothers, having a disagreement at the same time as our other two brothers are having a disagreement.
The mirror contrast, yep.
And it's just, and I love how they keep doing this, giving us
or the correlation, not contrast, the correlation.
And they're just giving us, these. I love how they do the clever visual editing to trick us into, thinking one thing and then we get the rest of the picture later, just like the characters do. It's a very fine lost art in anime these days, or hell, storytelling in general.
Oh yeah. Well, again, how they met Alphonse too. Oh, get away from that piece of junk. I'm not junk. Oh, that junk is talking. I told you I'm not junk. And then let's bring this big armor guy home because he started talking to us.
I mean, it's
one also because he said, "Oh, red eyes. You're from Ishbal, huh?"
Yep. And again, it's so nice to see characters who are smart enough to pick up on these things like we do. It's like, oh, you have red eyes. You must be Ishbalans. You should try to avoid the military. It's just such a wonderful thing to see, because modern days they just tell you a character's smart and you're supposed to just run with it.
Yeah.
It's nice to actually see, characters actually do it, in real time, not have to have somebody tell us. And frankly, it's kind of nice to see just how clever Al can be sometimes, too. Because, we all know Ed is smart, but it's like, Ed might be smart, but, like I said, sometimes he's thinking too much, or he's putting too much thought into something more than what it requires. It's nice to see Al, who's a little bit more grounded and a bit more worldly, to sometimes get these moments where just his plain, simple, I guess just want to say, being just a good-natured person, just, leads him into following up on things that Ed probably wouldn't pay as much attention to.
Oh, and as we wrap it up, I'll start another point of contention to mention that you could talk about, and before we get to the very end of it, is where they did. There was a part that even leads up to this while they're helping Rick and his older brother look for the mother's locket, where as they're coming up from the Ishvan hideout, Alphonse asks Scar, do you think I have a soul? Do you think I can feel and know these things? Scar doesn't say anything at first. He really doesn't give Alphonse an answer, but when Alphonse cries out for Rick, and then when he answered his brother too, Scar was watching all this, and he said, when you cried out, when I saw what you did for Rick, when I saw you react to your brother in those moments, I don't know for sure young Alphonse or young, he says young Elric, but I will say in that moment, I did see it, I did feel it, and I think you're in there, you're not just made up, you have a soul, it is yours.
And it reminds me, again, to bring it to a good moment from the Cell Saga, of Android 16 and Teen Gohan.
Can you go out? Keep talking, I'm just saying.
Yeah, and I love that, like, even though, like I mentioned previously, Goku really does not understand his children very well. I mean, let's be honest, sometimes he doesn't even understand Chi-Chi all that well. But the funny thing is, Android 6...
I guess it's just waiting for you to come back in. Sorry.
But it was neat to see that, like, just like with Android 16, because, again, Android 16 was, as we now know, designed to be sort of an Android replica of 21 Sun. I still don't like that retcon, but hey, I'll roll with it. It's just kind of neat to see that, even though 16... doesn't really understand, the only thing he fully understands is he needs to kill Goku because that's his programming. But without that, weighing on his mind, I love how he takes an interest in everything else, trees, birds, just the beauty of life in general. And I love how it plays perfectly with Gohan, because Gohan's kind of the same way. He's just a chill guy. He loves to learn. He loves to just, study things, be around things. And it was just so neat to see the two of them kind of develop this organic understanding of each other. And it's interesting, the more time we see Star, interacting with Al, we can see just a little bit of that lost humanity in him because, well, again, he loves his brother. His brother's death and madness was basically what drove him to become this vengeance-driven monk.
To which he thought his brother was trying to point him in the direction. If you guys remember in the earliest episodes, he kept talking like he was talking to his brother. Brother, I understand why you gave me this arm now. Brother, I will avenge our people.
And seeing, even though Al is, not a vicious fighter, he is a talented fighter. And we've seen that, Star does kind of respect the Elrics for, despite being children with very little formal training, they're still able to survive against guys like him and other threats. So it's pretty clear to see that Scar, even if he doesn't want to admit it, is seeing more than a little of himself in Al. And it's, it's that little bit of light, but I think we all know Scar's still going to follow his dark path one way or the other.
Yeah.
But it is just nice to see for just these little moments, a little bit of the man he was just shine through because... Well, in a sense, Al is like what he could have been. It's like that scene at the end of Death Note where, as Al is dying after he basically got caught and he passes his old self as he's running away. And it's just such a neat scene. It's like, this child, this is who I could have been. And even when you look at, like, Al's design, it's, it's a suit of armor. Okay, why does it have, like, that white martial arts loincloth? And then to me, that's like, maybe that was a bit of a reference, because we know that, like, in Brotherhood, by the way, again, spoiler warning, he's going to get married to Mei Shao. And what is Mei Shao? Well, she's a martial artist. And we know that, of the two of them, he's the one who's more talented and disciplined as a fighter. I mean, Ed's much more aggressive, but again, Al's the one who's a much more calm and disciplined fighter when they do fight.
And Alphonse is the guy that Edward has never been able to beat, so hey, and again, that's probably the thing that weighs on. And to that as well is we get to the ending year two, the reason I want to bring that up too is that Scar says he'll enter a truce right now with the Elrics, but he still plans to kill them. But he says, I won't do it right now out of respect of what you did for my people and us, but I'm going to take my people further down the river. And because, again, bringing everything full circle with the show, Edward says, did your people come close to creating a Philosopher's Stone? And he's like, well, we were trying to. We wanted to develop something to fight against your military and our panic and our aggression to get you out of our country. And then Edward's like, did you succeed in creating it? And Scar just silent, but then looks at him and then looks at his people. Let's go. Basically the common thing of, you should know by now, but also I'm not going to tell you, so long!
Yeah, and it's also probably just his way of saying, yeah, we did, without having to say it out loud, because he knows Ed's a smart enough kid to pick up on what he's doing. Hell, Ed probably already knows the answer, but Ed just wants that confirmation.
And as we're connecting the dots, which is why I brought it up, his reaction to Marco when he threw the Philosopher's Stone at him, his reaction to seeing all the symbols, understanding Marco's notes, the flashback with his brother crying out, all those lives, all destroyed.
Well, and
there's no way for it to end.
Well, and remember, when they found Marco's old lab, he didn't go inside.
No.
He avoided that place, so... But another thing I'd like to mention about Scar real quick before we talk about, the usual stuff, the after stuff. I love how there's another point of contrast between Scar and Al. Al is now basically, his soul, his heart is trapped in this big iron suit. He's basically a suit of iron, but he's all hard on the inside. Scar is a man who's still got all of his flesh, blood, and whatnot.
What are you doing?
But he has hardened his heart. He has made it cold. He has walled it off from the world. So in a sense, you could say that Al is figuratively, literally, and pretty much ideologically the absolute shadow of Scar, or what Scar could have been. He's lost all but his heart and soul. Scar, on the other hand, pretty much lost his heart and soul, but gained power. Come on, boy.
He must really just want you to come back.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, my room's next door, and he loves the bed there.
Yeah, and he also loves it when he's there. Not that he doesn't like me, but probably breaking this.
It's just kind of one of those weird things where it's like, what's his name? Scar basically lost his heart to gain the power for revenge. Al lost everything but his heart.
And again, before we get to the final thing we always like to talk about, to compare and contrast, as we've already done that with Brother, and I know we're getting close to an hour, so I'll try to keep it brief, is that in Brotherhood, Scar seems way more animalistically vengeful, like there's not much philosophicalness behind it, where in this one, there's philosophy, there's his religion, he does still care about his people wholly and wholeheartedly, and he's trying to believe that there's something really behind this, and within the Elrics, it's putting everything he's wanted to do into perspective. But what I love about it is that through the Elrics in the original, where instead of, he just lost his way completely, he's like this one, he's seeing the true side of God, or maybe I did go about this in the wrong way, and maybe I was judging certain people too harshly, where he's starting to question, did he do the right thing, because he wants to still do it, but as you guys notice, his kill count has started to lessen a little bit. He's being a bit more merciful, more understanding, because all these people he keeps seeing, maybe I've gone about this the wrong way.
It's just neat to see again, because like in Brotherhood, he really is just like a Terminator with alchemy, but in this one, over time, you really start to see that he lets a little bit of humanity in. I mean, he's still gonna try and go Frank Castle on the Elmestrians, but it's nice to see that he's, letting a little bit of humanity back in before he lets himself go back to the darkness completely.
One again, it's his own people, and it's the Elrics who've been a part of that. Where in Brotherhood, he's just I'm brushing it off for all their arguments, because I haven't fought my final boss fight yet. And again, to spoiler warning for you guys, I know Jherick has said it several times, it's going to be Ling and Scar who fight against Bradley and defeat him, and, you know, it's like, in that moment, I actually pity Bradley more than I do Ling and Scar, because Bradley does mock humans at his death, and I'm like, Bradley's death is actually one of the fucking coolest things in Brotherhood, and which is why Bradley, like Jherick says, Bradley's still Brad the Chad, because there's something about him where even as a villain, he radiates fucking coolness that I love about. And again, it's probably because how in the original here, he's an aging created homunculus that we haven't gotten to yet, but the villain Dante in this one, instead of Father, creates. Father bred, Bradley as a boy. He was a human brought up, again, the Nazi training camps or experimentation camps, if you will, and then turned into a homunculus where so many other humans died before him. And what have we seen Bradley do? Maybe we as homunculi have lived too long. I'm starting to question what is our purpose. He's still sticking to the cause, but he's doing a thing that humans would do. He's starting to question whether there was a purpose to Father's madness or not. I don't think he literally cares enough to know, but that's what humans do, is they question. And why would someone who's a homunculus, half human, half homunculus like Bradley in Brotherhood, question these things? Because he's human.
You know what?
That's why.
Original Fullmetal Alchemist, he's Master Roshi. Brotherhood, he's Albert Wesker.
Well, if you look at it too, I think we've had that scene where after he splits up Mustang's team, because remember, Riza Hawkeye's working for him, and Riza's disgusted working for him, and he's like, there's one of these things that you have, but I don't understand it, sir. I think I know what you're going to say, but I don't get it. You're not completely like us, but yet you have a child, you have a wife. If you say you hate us, why do you care for these things? Because part of me does have my own reasons. I'm not going to explain them to you, but I will tell you something, Lieutenant. Did you know I wasn't just given my wife? I picked my wife. Bet you didn't understand that one. And she's like flabbergasted that, so he picked her out, she just didn't show up. It's like, no, he literally says, I found my wife. I picked my wife. And that to me shows there's humanity there. Yeah. There was some form of love there that existed.
And it reminds me of Omni-Man, because even though Omni-Man tried to play it off that he only picked, Mark's mother, for the cause, later on you find out he really cared about that woman. Truly cared about her.
One that it plays into, if you guys have seen the current season, plays into Oliver asking, I heard what you told Mom, but you said you didn't like my mom, so how could I like you? How dare you say you're my dad? He tries to explain things to him, but you said she didn't matter. Did you mind that? You didn't even bother to see me. You only wanted to see Mark, and such good shit.
Oh man, the conversation he has with Alan the alien in jail was so perfect.
Oh yeah, well, and I admit, people give, not to go on that tangent, but people give Sandra Oh and J.K. Simmons so much credit. But again, J.K. Simmons has always been a great actor. Sandra Oh's been great too, and their whole performance, the way she just rejects him, even though he wants to still love her, but she rejects him, and she fucking, even though it doesn't look like she's hitting him that hard, she is, because if you guys remember, she breaks her fucking hand on him. He wants to help, and she just screams in frustration and yells at him to get out, and people say, it's not the pain in her hand where she's screaming in frustration, it's everything she's held in.
Yeah.
Because you have to think, even if he's telling her it's not true, Omni-Man has forgotten what it is to be human, because the human part of him was the mask. He was a Vitramite first and foremost, and like how he tells Mark and Oliver, I'm trying to be good. It's something I'm not good at.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, we have
J.K. Simmons. I love you, man. You're such a great and I think underappreciated actor.
Man, now I got to see Omni-Man voiced by J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised we haven't gotten things from that. I've heard some people do a little bit on some of his other characters with that, but yeah, great stuff. But before we get to it, because I know we're almost at an hour here, favorite characters.
Ooh, okay, yeah, I have to give this one to Al. Al was brilliant in this. I mean,
yeah. Well, I'll do even one better. Alphonse and Edward grouped together because they were both great.
But I mean, again, what else would we expect from the dream team of alchemy, great alchemist voice actors? I mean, hey, it's what they do, and again, for a kid so young to have that talent at such a young age is. Man, there are times I've missed the 90s. But second choice would definitely have to be Scar, because Scar did, I mean, he wasn't as prominent in this, but he's got some really great deliveries.
Which I could say too, because I forgot to mention their names. For Alphonse and Edward, as you guys know, Aaron Dismuke, great child performance at this time. Vic Mignogna, always good. And since he brought up Scar, it's not J. Michael Tatum, as you guys remember, like I said, from Brotherhood. It's Damian Quark. The guy who was the voice of Cell in Dragon Ball Z, which Damian Quark is a great Cell for this current one. So, and not that I don't mind J. Michael Tatum in Brotherhood. He plays the more psychotic Scar well. But Damian Quark is really good at playing this tough man, philosophical Scar to a T, because he really shows the genuine care in him, but also I'm still hiding much of my emotions, but yet I'm trying to find what is this balance I'm working on.
It's really difficult to try to play a character who's reserving their emotions while trying to... I mean, it's a very, very hard thing to do.
What's the best way we can describe it, since you brought that up with the character? J. Michael Tatum's Scar in Brotherhood looks older, garter, and more broad, so like an older version of Scar. This Scar still looks like he's young, maybe late 20s, early 30s.
Oh,
and Damian Quark plays him like a younger man still on a pilgrimage, or a vengeance pilgrimage, like crusade. There we go, like he's on a crusade.
What's a great example of this is that scene where they're asking Cecil. Cecil Fett. What's this?
From Invincible again?
No. Phantom Hive. God, is his name Cecil? I forget. The little Phantom Hive, the young Lord Phantom Hive from Black Butler. After.
Oh no, not Cecil. It's
I keep.
I know. Well, yeah, Lord Phantom Hive, essentially. Yeah.
Where they're talking to him about after the funeral for Madame Red.
CL Phantom Hive. Yeah,
CL Phantom Hive, where they're talking to him like, come on, tell us how you really feel. After Madame Red's funeral, and I love how you can see and hear the pain in his voice as he's trying to maintain his composure. But I love when Sebastian brings up the talk they had about that during the chess match some episodes before that, where he's saying whatever it takes to get my vengeance, I'll say they're all pieces on the chessboard. I'll sacrifice them all if they're necessary. Oh really, my lord? Even your auntie? Even your fiancée? And it's a great scene because you can, the way he delivers it, you can practically hear him biting his lip in real life, trying not to let out that emotion, not to show that weakness before
speaking of J. Michael Tatum, because since you brought that up, and it's a good correlation, like you said, because he laid it on thick, you see where he's building this image scene that we're seeing where Lisa, his Aunt Madame Red, all his friends, all his caretakers, the people who take care of him. I think Ling and Lao, the two people who sell the drugs, are there. Everybody he knew was just buried on top of one another like they're dead chess pieces, all these pawns, where he's the king, and it's looking like he's the king, but Sebastian is the rook or the queen, who also has equal power. Or no, I forget if it was the rook, knight, or the queen, but one of the pieces that's apparently even higher than the king.
Well, it's the
standing right above. It's the CL Phantom Hive.
It's the queen, because even though the king is allegedly the most important piece in chess, the queen is the only piece that can move as many spaces in whatever direction. So the king is really in chess more of a figurehead. It's the queen that holds the highest level of power in a chess game. And again, with that allegory, with the butler being the queen, yes, technically he's supposed to follow the orders of the king, aka Chiel. But again, who holds the real power? The one who's getting everything done, the queen piece.
The one who made the one who made the deal in the first place. That I don't understand fully, but I'm starting to understand probably what was gaining towards the show, which at some point we need to finish. But I also want to collect the show. So whether we do it through Crunchyroll means or other means, or me or Jherick just collect the show. Hey.
Fans, hope I never get this guy on XXX Holic.
Well, I've known the show. I've known the show, but I've never seen the whole thing in its entirety.
It's
so
beautiful.
Hey. Well, again, even Tsubasa's connected to that. So
good old clamp. But and for the third one, I would have had this kid at number 1 if he would have had more scenes and more lines. The older brother, because that breakdown scene when he realizes his mother loved him.
Yeah. And no worries, I almost got emotional just recounting this too. So no worries.
Yeah, great.
Well, then I'll give him. I was going to mention him too because he was another one of mine. I wish I could remember the name. I should have wrote him down. I forgot to. Michael Sinter-Nicholas is the one who played that character, and Michael Sinter-Nicholas's performance was spot on, great.
I mean, honestly, if we could have had more time with this kid, he would have stole the whole episode.
Yeah. And if you guys remember, Rick is in Brotherhood. He's that little kid just watching over Scar. He just doesn't have a name. And we see Scar's teacher, his monk master teacher, the guy who taught him martial arts and his teachings there, who sadly rejects everything and says, I cannot come back to God because of what I've done and blah, blah, blah. But then, it'll be that too. And let's face it, we've not seen the Ishvalan that Alexander Anderson's sister, Alexander Anderson, or Alexander Armstrong's sister has, because she has an Ishvalan on the team too. And it's like, I mean, again, I'm not trying to just badmouth Brotherhood, but it's just like, I look at it and I just say, it's just apples and oranges, night and day. They're two good shows, but done differently. But again, the original is the Journeyman's Tale, and I love the Journeyman's Tale a lot better because there's messages in the Journeyman's Tale where it's like, and again, forgive me, an algorithm, forgive me, or whatever could hit us, but Nazis, we're fighting Nazis, y'all. Nazis. Oh, China's here for some reason. Nazis.
Yeah. It's like, it's like a Steven Seagal movie. Ninjas.
Oh, and also that there's possibly a problem with religion being a complete man-made construct. And it's like, I know that, but that doesn't mean that spiritualism is there because, again, what would be the point of truth? Well, God's a bit of a dick. Maybe, but have you ever thought there was a purpose to all this? Other than giving back, like, I know we mentioned it before, other than giving back the powers at the end of Brotherhood, which I think was a little too, okay, you've suffered enough, I'll take them away.
Yeah.
Why?
That was a little too easy. But for me, it's it's kind of, I think of it like this. This will probably be my last nerdy allegory here, but for me, Fullmetal Alchemist Original is like Wheel of Time. For those of you who are OG Wheel of Time fans,
yeah, right here.
It's long, it's depth, it's absolutely one of the best written series of all time. It really is just one of those ones where you have to read it over and over again to just get everything, and it's beautiful in that sense. And then, like Brotherhood, as much as I do love Brotherhood, because there were elements of it I do like a little bit better than Brotherhood, but it really is the Dragon Ball Z Kai of the series.
Well, the political intrigue is good. The characterization is good. It's a little on the nose.
Yeah,
it's not as thought-provoking.
Because again, I'm a drama brat, he's a writing major. It's like, this is just how we work.
Well, again, and I'll mention it really quick because I know we're already at an hour and 8 minutes, but it's like that scene that we've already bitched about where if the Fuhrer got control, he would punish all those who did the atrocities in Ishval. And then I look at that and go, including yourselves.
Yeah.
So you want to be the Fuhrer and what? You're going to be the Fuhrer for 5 minutes because you're as equally guilty as the other men who created those murders, and you did murder people on behest of your government. So you're saying too, are you and Reza Hawkeye and your team, which Gene Havoc was also a part of that war, Maze Hughes, who was alive, if he was still alive, was a part of that war. A couple other people you know were still a part of that war. Alexander Louis Armstrong was a part of that war. Would all you be equally punished? Yeah. Because that's what you're saying, so you're only going to be Fuhrer for 5 minutes.
I mean, could you imagine if Mace Hughes lives is like, whoa, dude, I've got a wife and kid I got to think about. I can go to jail.
Well, and so would Reza Hawkeye, because it was Reza Hawkeye who told Edward all this stuff and why I had to ship it. Because, so, Roy's going to be Fuhrer for 5 fucking minutes then. Because if that's true, he would also have to judge himself along with that. Because, could you realize if he did that, how upset the people would be? Would the people even want to trust him? Oh, that's semantics, Zach. Not exactly! Because if we take it by today's standards, look how we are today. Or even do we have any trust in anything?
Or even worse, imagine Louise Armstrong's sister finds out and it's like, they did what? It's like, I'm sorry, but we all know she would punch down those walls, drag them out of prison, and then execute the judges on war crimes.
I've been stuck in the frozen wasteland because of blah, 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 blah. But, no, exactly. But, either way, I think that's pretty much it. Sorry for some of the rants we've had.
Yeah.
And hope this video doesn't get doxxed. We'll see. Because I can't believe I even mentioned some of the shit I did this time. But, again, I thought he was going to mention it. But I'm like, you know what? If he wasn't going to be the guy to do it, I'll do it. But he mentioned some of his own shit that I'm like, whoa, but hey. But either way, Owen Tsuboku
and Professor J reminding you, ooh.
Again, not the correct show, but other than that, because we will hopefully get to that one somewhere down the line. But until then, guys, excuse me. See